Well, I was going through a divorce, so in a way I was paying for two houses, you know. So I was like, I'm in big trouble here. So I was like, I don't really know what to do. But what I'd found is, in the eye of the storm, when I started, this was the really turning point, was I told the truth, I let go of the outcome. This has happened. What do I do now? And I was like, well, hairdressers hate me.
That was the word, outcome.
Hairdressers hate me. But my followers went up to about 12,000 from about 4,000 in 2 days. What I realised all of a sudden is the consumer loved me. I told them something helpful. And I was like, okay, the hairdresser hates me, but there's 70 million consumers in this country. And none of them can get access to any help with their hair. None of them.
Because who's out there, Michael, at this moment in time? Because, yeah, this is why, I wanted a lot for the podcast, because I wanted you to have an opportunity to talk about this so openly and freely. But equally, for me, I feel like we need a representation.
Yes.
As an industry to the consumer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my point is at this point, we'd had this kind of rock star period for hairdressers. You know, we'd seen, the style challenge and all these areas. Yeah. But probably at this point, there wasn't really...
You couldn't...
After the salon, there wasn't really any... After Lee Stafford, I'd say, was the last...
So I remember thinking, oh, well, start speaking to people, you know. You've now got 12,000 followers, and there was 1,000 DMs a day coming in saying, I don't know what to do with my hair, my roots are coming through, I don't know how to colour it, I don't know what to do. And I was like, send me a picture of your roots and your hair, and I'll tell you what to do.
So you now found your new medium format.
I found this amazing group of people that were so grateful to get some help. And, I'd get people say, oh, I go to Ken Picton's salon in Wales, but nobody's answering my emails or phone, I don't know what to do with my hair colour. And nobody's telling me what to do, and I really hate my roots. And I'd say, okay, send me a picture. She was brown ends and grey roots. So I was like, number 6, Claire all nice and easy. 25 minutes on the roots, 10 minutes on the ends, wash it off, send me a picture when you've blow-dried it. She sent me a picture, and she went, bloody hell, this is brilliant. Thank you so much, can't believe you've helped me. I was like, it's an absolute pleasure. Take care, anything else, let me know, So I was doing hundreds of these a day, I was like...
So, but equally you're doing this, but you'd mentioned about, obviously, I want to cover about MD London. And
Well, it was born out of this idea. The whole business is born out of that.
Because I remember we met up, though, before lockdown. And you were talking about, we met, and Jez Barnett, who I'll shout out, or love that, I've shouted him out, but we met in a pub, and you were developing these cordless straight.
Yeah.
And that was before MD London, so...
Yes,
and
that was MD London. It was called MD London, Your Hair Anywhere, it was called. And it was a cordless hairstyling device and some dry styling sprays. And it was this idea that you could style your hair anywhere without a plug socket, without any water. Because I'd been doing people's hair in the street all this time. I was always struggling to do their hair because you always need a plug socket.
You developed this and...
So I developed that, yeah. But we'll jump the gun a little bit, because what I would say is what I started to do on Instagram was go live every day for about half an hour at 11 o'clock. And I'd say to all my followers, I'm live at 11 o'clock today. Got any questions? Put them on the live. I'll answer them on the live, and then I'll post the live. And that'll help lots of people because they'll start to watch them, So this morning saw me doing that, and places like Heart Radio did, and then there was a morning show on BBC One, and they all got in touch and they said, oh, we can see you're on Instagram helping people, would you come on the show? So I was on This Morning quite a lot, and then I was on Heart Radio in the morning with Jamie Theakston and Amanda Holden doing bits there and all the rest of it, and the whole thing started to spiral up. And what happened as a result of that really is that it was like doing a national focus group every day about what problems have you got with your hair and why can't you solve them? Why is there not appropriate stuff out there to help you with this problem? Because they'd say, I've got frizzy hair, what shampoo would you recommend? And I was like, why do you think the answer is in a shampoo? And they're like, I don't know. I just assume it is. And it's like, well, it's not. It's in a blow dry. You want to get rid of frizz, you blow dry it out your hair. You can't shampoo frizz away, You style it away, So what I realised I was doing is like, people were like, really? And I said, I'm going to teach you to blow dry your hair. So I'd do these tutorials to teach people to blow dry their own hair. And they were like, wow, I cannot believe it's the first time my hair's not been frizzy in my whole life, And I was like, yeah, this is how they do it, You think it's in a bottle, but it's in a technique and a tool, really, If you want to look, you want to like what you see in the mirror, you've got to learn to style your hair. And that's where all this was born, you know. Because I was like, okay, I could launch a brand. What would it be? Shampoos, conditioners, treatments. And I was like, none of those products help the problems that I'm being faced with, you know. So when people said, my hair's too flat, it doesn't shine enough, it's frizzy, it's got flyaways, I was like, yeah, shampoo's not going to help any of that. A brush, good brush and a blow dryer, that'll get rid of all of those problems. You can put more body in your hair, you can make it shine more, you can put a wave in it, you can make it less frizzy, get rid of flyaways, all of that's done styling. And I was like, okay, styling, that's what I'm doing, tools and styling. That's the best way I can help all these people. And then I had 2 ideas for it. So I was like, what is at the heart of this business? And I used to watch this thing called The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross. You familiar with that?
I've watched it. Yeah.
Right. Bob Ross paints a picture, unedited, for an hour. It's on BBC iPlayer. You can go and have a look at The Joy of Painting. Big curly perm. And he'd say, okay, we're going to paint a picture. You're going to do it at home. And I sit there with my iPad and I'd paint the picture with Bob Ross. I can show you some on my iPad that I did during lockdown.
Yeah.
And I get my kids to do it as well. So we all had computers with a stylus, and all 3 of us would paint. And what he used to say is he'd go, there are no mistakes, just happy accidents. Don't worry. If you get something wrong, paint over it. Do it somewhere else. And I just think, God, I love this guy. I want to be the Bob Ross of consumer hairdressing. There are no mistakes, just happy accidents. Don't worry. You can wet your hair down and do it again, you know.
Right.
Love, love, love. That's what it was. It was like, no animosity, nothing angry. It's just love all the way, you know. And then I got big into Coldplay in lockdown, and I realised that Coldplay are just like love 1 billion times, you know. And I was like, okay, I want this business to be the Coldplay and the Bob Ross.
It's a combo go,
right? Nothing but love.
Yeah.
That everybody who comes to work for us, everybody who interacts with us, everybody who buys something off us, I'm just going to shower you with love. And I'm going to help you in any way I possibly can for you to look in the mirror and love what you see, even just 10% more than you did yesterday. If you've done that, that's all I want. And I'm going to forget about money. I'm going to forget about the outcome. I'm going to forget about the mechanics of business. That is my job. It's this very small contribution I can make to making the world a better place is to get everybody to love themselves just a tiny bit more than they did yesterday. That is it.
We often talk about our whys, don't we? We hear it all the time, but well, I think you've just summed it up perfectly in that why. So you're MD London. While we're on it, there's still plenty of the story I want to go. I want hairdressers to know about MD London. And, you know, I'll be honest with you. You know, my wife, who's a hairdresser, and she'll love it that I'm shouting around in this, actually, because I never shout around. But she ordered the hairdryer.
Yeah.
I think she was drawn by the colour. She just loves the green khaki, and she'll love that wall colour, by the way, as well. I think I'm definitely inspired with the property we just bought for our shop, but that's another story.
Okay.
And then, lo and behold, she's gone and ordered the curlies. So we're not using them from a consumer point of view.
Yeah.
We're using them from a professional point of view. I still do hair. I still have clients, and I use them. I like them. I like them a lot. Is it right for me as a hairdresser to be liking these MD London?
Yes, it is, because they're built really for you and someone to use on themselves. I mean, when I started hairdressing, I didn't really understand why you don't just smash consumer retail and hair salons together. I just thought, if I had a salon, I'd quite like a Boots at the front of it and the salon at the back of it, or vice versa. I don't understand why there's this shampoos here and the shampoos there.
Why Boots?
Stand up.
No.
Well,
Did they try it at one point? Or that
well,
you
Boots
have assistants?
Boots have now started to stock Redken and Kerastase and all that stuff.
There's a whole conversation.
Yeah,
on
absolutely. But for me, it just kind of makes sense. Like the consumer getting their hair done is the same consumer going to Boots. It's not like they come to the salon and then never go to Boots or Tesco's to buy their shampoo. They're doing both those things. So why don't you just provide them with all their hair solutions in the salon? And it could be Pantene or Head and Shoulders, or it could be Kerastase or Assistant Professional. I give them a choice, you know. It's up to them, really. The market drives the outcome in a way. Instead of Boots making the margin, you make the margin, you know. And it's like,
what stops salons from doing it? What do you think it is?
Well, I think the companies themselves, that, you know, like they've probably got a contract with Boots where they're not allowed to sell in certain places. And the hairdressers...
You can never buy in the same costs. You're not
you've got
going
that price comparisons and all that kind of stuff.
You ain't going to have the same buying power.
There's probably a million barriers now, you know, that are, you know, it'd be difficult to unpick. But even as a young, like 17-year-old hairdresser, that made sense to me. That if people were going to buy Pantene, why don't they just buy it from every generation on Towngate? I don't go into Tesco.
I'd love to hear what our viewer says to this.
Yeah, yeah.
Let us know. Drop us an email or get in touch on.
Because the consumers, that's the thing, the
socials.
consumer's the same person. The person coming in the salon is going to Sainsbury's and Tesco.
Yeah, I get
it's
that,
the same person. You know, it's not like my person's here and there are other people buying those products. It's just all the same people. They're all consumers of stuff, you know.
So MD London, you are we going to be, because you were going to be at HairCon,
Yes.
and that was kind of alerted me to maybe thinking,
Yeah.
oh, MD London's going professional here.
Yeah, it is. For me, my first stop was always the consumer. Wanted to get to know my customer and who they were and what they liked about us and what they didn't like about us and how we would improve things. So I thought, well, before I go to the hairdressers, though, let's see what the consumer likes and doesn't like about it. But these are designed by me to be used by me.
Just again, I know a lot of people will just be hearing this. So describe it in somebody who's going to be audio and somebody who will be watching in visual. I imagine predominantly it'll be audio. A lot of people hear it.
Yeah.
But we've got the ranges behind us, haven't we?
Yes.
That we're looking at.
So we've got blow, curl, wave, fat, straight. All our names are one-syllable words, by the way. That was something I decided to settle on for a bit. So, yeah, I just thought that would be quite a funny thing to do. I also think quite a good name for bands. The fat, the curl. Straight.
It's strong, isn't it?
Yeah, it's strong. Anyway, so there's 5 devices and there's 9 brushes. And then we are bringing out some wet products next year as well, some styling products.
So that's growing.
I'm not going into shampoos and conditioners, and I don't particularly want to, but it may well be somewhere down the line. It's funny, when you start a business, you don't really know what it is until it gets moving, and then it tells you what it is. And you have to lean into that, really.
Did you go in with a clear business plan?
The clear business plan, and we raised £1.5 million from investors, which is a very interesting thing to do.
Was that hard to do?
No, it's really easy. As somebody said, there's more money out there than there are good ideas. So if you've got a good idea, there's money for it. You know, it's difficult to
what
get
was
into
a good idea? Because people would say, well,
the good idea was your hair anywhere, no plug socket, no water, do your hair in 10 minutes, anywhere, on a train, back of an Uber, in a toilet.
So it was on that back of that cordless.
Yeah, that cordless thing. So
but that isn't about anymore.
No, because
China
shut down, all the car industries bought all the batteries. So the price of batteries, honestly, like, if you wanted to buy, there were these Molly cells, they were called, these batteries that we're going to buy. They were most powerful, they were called 18750s, I think, the batteries. It's a bit like AA's, but fatter, and they're rechargeable, obviously, lithium-ion batteries. And that's what all car batteries are made out of, packs of those. So literally Vauxhall, BMW, Tesla, all that. They bought every fucking battery in the world. So the only place you could get these batteries was literally off pirates. There are pirates on the internet who will sell you these batteries because they over-ordered, they sold them on the black market, so somebody will sell you 20,000 batteries, but you'll pay 400% over the asking price for them. Honestly,
it's another world, isn't it?
It was hilarious, yeah. So it was a bit like, we could make this cordless device, but we'd have to sell it at like £800 for it to make any money.
Yeah, you might struggle. It's got to be good.
Yeah, even Dyson.
So at this point, are you thinking, here we go again. This is going.
And you've got to go back to your investors and say, you gave us all that money to launch a business we can't launch.
Well, so you're reinventing your business model again.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, right, okay, this one isn't going to work. The strategizer, what am I going to do now?
I was so strapped for cash as well. This is what was happening because I was literally on the brink of bankruptcy. So I was robbing Peter to pay Paul.
I'm going to just jump in here on that one. Strapped for cash, but you're at this point now in a relationship with Davina. Are we allowed to?
Yes, probably. It was a bit later on. We didn't live together or anything like that. And of course, in lockdown, we weren't allowed to see each other. So we had long periods of time.
A friendship that was getting
stronger. But
because people would say, "Well, are you with Davina? And surely she'd help out." I'm saying what people would say.
I can tell you something interesting about that. I think is that when I'd got divorced, it was important to work out who I was, really. Like, I was really lost, and I was like, what do I want and who am I? Like, where do I want to live? What do I want the rest of my life to look like? Like, it was a big, it was like a breakdown in a way, you know, like of everything. You know, I literally had a breakdown, I would say. And I had to reassemble a new version of me in a way, you know, that was as close to me as I could get, you know. So I was a bit like, don't jump into anything. Don't go and move in with Davina. Don't do anything. Just stay in this house. For about 4 years I stayed there for. And I just worked out who I was and what I wanted to do. What Michael wanted to do. Not what anybody else wanted from me. So, all right, you could say, well, you could just take money off Davina, but there's no such thing as free money. There's a problem there. I now owe somebody money. And there is, you know, there's a relationship that's now got more complexity to it than I want. So as soon as I take money, I'm in trouble. So it's like, no, I'm taking money from nobody. Like, I have to become self-sufficient. I have to become independent. I have to find out how to earn money. What you've
done throughout your life.
Throughout my entire life, I've tried to remain completely providing for myself and my kids and whatever else my commitments were, you know. So it was never an option, that. It would be potentially the biggest mistake of my life to do that, you know, so I wasn't going to do it. So I had to really find my feet, you know. So when I started talking on Instagram and telling people about hair, brands started getting in touch with me, and one of them that got in touch with me was OGX. Can I send you some OGX, and would you start talking about it on your lives and we'll pay you? And I was like, send it me, I'll see what it's like. Because I don't want to talk about anything I don't think's any good, you know. I'm not.
So you believe in all the products that you would talk?
I am not a mouthpiece.
Because people say, you're selling your soul for money.
So
you're going to say, I love these, and it's in your interest to say that.
So
because you're getting paid.
I am not a mouthpiece for anybody. I will say what I want to say, and I will not say what I don't want to say. That's it. So I thought, send me this stuff, I'll have a look. If I think it's any good, you're on. But if it's not, you're not. So I took it, showed it around a few people, checked all the formulations, checked the ingredients, sulfate-free surfactants.
Because you know your stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
You know your science around so you can hear that within your share.
pH-balanced formulas, sulfate-free surfactants, mega. Like, you'd be hard-pushed to find a better formulation than that anywhere, whether professional or consumer. It's really expensive and difficult to make a pH-balanced formula, and if you want sulfated surfactants are cheap, but non-sulfated surfactants are quite expensive, and they're also difficult to get to stabilise in these bottles, and they've done it, you know. It was a great range, it was available to everybody, anywhere, and I thought, my consumers, the people I'm talking to, will love this, because it's affordable, accessible, does a really good job, formulations are great, I can easily get behind it. Now, I get a lot of people that go, there's lawsuits on this in America because there's an ingredient that's causing hair loss. Like,
is that right?
Yeah. So that 7 years ago, basically the formulations in America aren't the same as the formulations here. So whatever's going on in America is not going on here. So there's European legislation here that blocks loads of ingredients you just can't use here that you can in America. There are 1 or 2 lawsuits in America for OGX, and I think there's one for Tresemme as well, that there was an ingredient in there that's not in there anymore, but it was about 7 years ago, and they're claiming that ingredient caused hair loss in a couple of people. So those people have got civil lawsuits against this, which they haven't won. Whether they win or not, I don't know, but if they don't win, then that'll be proved to be not the case, and if they do win, but that ingredient doesn't exist anymore in America, and it was never here in Europe. So, you know, you've got to understand how lawfare works in America. You know, people want to sue all the time, you know, for all sorts of different things. So, but just in case people were out there going, oh, I know that, it's poison, you know, there's lawsuits. There are, but, like, it's nuanced, you know. So anyway, I got on board with them. They started paying me a bit of money, and then this has turned out into a very flourishing, lovely relationship.
How does that work now for you then, that relationship?
Yeah, so I have a contract with these guys. It's like 20 days a year for some money, And then they give us quite a few freebies. So when we sell some MD London products, we'll often put freebies in the boxes for them.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, so we do lots of gift with purchase.
Louise Lahane, Mrs. Lahane.
Oh, yes, okay. So you got some of those, yeah.
And they have been used.
Yeah, good. So it's good stuff. There's a nice heat protection spray in there. There's good shampoos, conditioners, treatments, oils, serums and stuff like that. So I'm like, yeah, go. We'll spread the love. And then now when I make content for those guys, I use my tools. So there's a little cross-change of...
They're all exchanged.
Yeah, it's all,
But the belief's there, you're not doing it for that commercial.
No, not different. And I certainly don't need the money anymore, so I do it because it's a nice thing to do. Yeah. And we don't sell shampoo, so it's nice to be able to recommend shampoos. When we launched, I wanted to go into Boots. So we had a couple of meetings with Boots, but there was just a feeling inside me that it wasn't right, and I thought, I don't want to push this.
What was not right? Can I ask?
They just weren't excited enough about it. And I thought, I don't want to come to Boots unless you're excited to have me.
What didn't excite? Because I'd imagine for someone with a brand, you watch it on many of these entrepreneurial shows. Oh, I'm going to be in Boots. This is
I wanted to be in Boots, but
this is a holy grail of.
I just didn't feel they wanted me enough, and I also thought, let's not do this until. Let's not do Boots until we know what we're doing. I've never run a business before. I have been a lonely freelance hairdresser my whole career. That's
actually really interesting that you said that. Because actually, when you sit and you think about it, you've never run a business.
Never run a business. I've never raised money from investors. I have no idea what I was doing when I started.
Are you naturally are you a good business person? And I know Olivia sits behind you, and she was, I
honestly don't know. I mean, we've not been hugely successful yet. It's hard to tell,
Are you a numbers man? Do you look at the numbers?
Not much, no. I try not to, because you get a bit weirded out by them, because you have days where you shift 30 grand in a day, and then you have days where you shift 4 grand. And you can get a bit bogged down in why have we only shifted 4 grand today?
When you're dealing with products, because there will be people that, I'd love to do what Michael's doing, and people, and that's great. I won't have people who have aspirations, but the reality of you're having to deal with manufacturers. Do you have somebody who looks after your brand and deals with those management?
So we have an agency that sources stuff from China, but they're an intermediary, so they have people on the ground in China, and I'll say, okay, look, I want to make a new curling iron. I want it to be on a right angle, like a gun.
Is that how effectively?
Yeah, that's how that was made, yeah.
Did you draw it?
Yeah, draw a picture of it, and I've got Procreate on my iPad. So I have an idea, I draw a picture of it.
Are you good at art, by the way? So
No, not really.
Because you're talking about Bob.
But you get it, you can draw a stick drawing of something.
So it didn't need to be
detailed, no.
Engineered style.
You just say, I want something like this, interchangeable barrels, I want a reverse conical. This was quite important, this thing here.
So again, Michael, just for the sake of our listeners, he's just got the curler.
So most ones go like that.
That's right.
They start fat at this end and go thin.
That's right.
Which basically means that when you wrap your hair around it, you get a very soft curl at the root and you get a tighter curl at the ends.
The other way.
Nobody wants that. Nobody in the history of hairdressing has said, make it flat here but really curly on the ends. It's rubbish, So for me, the conical was always, the wand was back to front. What you actually want is a tighter curl at the roots and a looser one at the ends. The tighter curl at the root will drop out because of the weight of the hair, so it's not tighter in the end. But it's this soft wave at the end that everybody wants. So that's what that's all about.
When did you work that out?
I worked it out about 10 years ago. And I was
it was always in your head, but 10 years ago, it wasn't the moment.
I didn't know how to do it. I was I don't know how to do that, But
it was always there.
Yeah, it was always there, the reverse conical. I was
and then inside the curl, isn't it?
Yeah, the curl.
We've got the one for the really curly.
Yeah, we've got 4
which is
barrels.
great for, again, Olivia, I know hers is darker, but it creates that.
Or Afro black hair.
Black hair.
Babyliss used to do a 9mm curling iron, and me and Keith Harris used to work with Keith Harris a lot back in the day.
Wow.
He really helped me a lot as well. I was his assistant for about 6 or 7
I'd
years.
love to get him on the show.
He used to use a 9mm curling iron. I loved it. So when I went to the factory, I said, make me a 9mm curling iron, because I loved it, And they said the smallest we can make is 10 by putting the MCH heaters into the barrel. Could you settle with 10? I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go for 10, So yeah, we've got a 10mm barrel, 25mm, 32mm, and then this, which is 19 to 32.
And again, I don't want to get too bogged down in the whole electric, but because I appreciate time.
Yeah, it's okay.
But the world is full of styling irons, curl, hot brush, wide hair dryers. What was your point of difference?
I think, first of all, one of the big questions I got in lockdown is, I don't want to buy a Dyson, it's too expensive and I don't like it. What else do you recommend? I don't know, I couldn't think of anything. I was using the GHD Air, I think, at the time. But it was a bloody heavy air dryer, that, and it's pretty slow and sluggish and noisy. And I was like, well, that's what I use. I also use this little thing called Colexia, little Italian hairdryer, which I like. They were £100 on Amazon. It was small. It's quite noisy and quite heavy, but at least it was small, So I was recommending that. But I was looking around and I was thinking, why isn't there a lightweight, good hairdryer that's like £100 cheaper than Dyson? And that's when I thought, I'll do the MD London
Mrs.
Block.
Lahane, her only complaint is it isn't magnetic.
Okay, it is now. That's why I'm going to send you a new one.
She will be over the moon.
Yeah, so
because she, with her diffuser.
Yeah, so this now, that's all magnetic, and we built a bigger insert.
Can I have a look?
And a deeper one, yeah.
Will that stretch? Let's have a...
It won't be plugged in. Yeah, just pull it off. So we've got the 9...
That's better.
Yeah, it's loads better, isn't it? It just took us a while to get there,
So the nozzle as well,
Yeah, the nozzle's a 9 centimetre nozzle. I don't know what I've got the line about. No.
I like that. Actually, this actually just...
Yeah, so the nozzle's the same.
There you go, Mrs. Lahane. Your question's been answered. So, look, I mean, you've never had a salon.
No.
And you never wanted
I never wanted one.
Would you ever want one?
Nope.
What else could be... I never wanted this journey.
I never wanted to win British Hairdresser of the Year or anything like that.
Would it be nice to be acknowledged by the industry? Would you like a bit of love?
What I'd like to do, really, is I'd like to think that I'd encouraged new people to come into the industry.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think you have.
Yeah, I think I have as well, because I do think people watch me on Instagram and whatnot, and I get a lot of questions from people saying, I'd do anything to come and assist you, or my daughter wants to be a hairdresser, what would be the best way to get her started? She loves watching your content or anything. And that's what I really, really love, is that it has been a brilliant job. I have loved my whole life, as difficult as it's been sometimes. Like, I'm really grateful I'm a hairdresser. And I love when people say, oh, who are you? What do you do? And I go, I'm a hairdresser. And I see them go like, oh, a bit disappointed. But I love the fact that you slightly fly under the radar, and then you can really surprise people.
As I said to you before, and I'll say it again, and probably on behalf of a lot of people in the industry, I would want to say thank you.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure.
Because I think you've done exactly that. And I don't, we talk about many issues in the industry, as we've always done. There's always problems, but probably more so than ever. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, products are being sold all over the place, cheaper. The political landscape on that is there.
Yeah.
You've just got to make sure your business is good and recommend and give advice however you want to do that. However, we need people out there like yourself who are showcasing our industry in a really strong way, because there's a disconnection between the consumer and the industry. Okay, we all have things, but it's that disconnection.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Maybe Mr. MD is that person who's connecting.
Well, you've hit the nail on the head, I think, really. What I really want to do is to smash these two businesses together, where there isn't consumer products and professional. There's just one big industry that we can all work in and move around. So if you have a brand...
It's our industry.
It's just our industry.
Whether
it's a hair industry.
It's hair.
And I'm not bothered whether it's professional hair or consumer hair. It's just hair. Like, we're all in it. And it would just be great. I have this T-shirt. I make these T-shirts with statements on. One of them says, how do I get there? And for me, that's the meaning of life. You are here. And you ask yourself, what do I want? And then you go, I want this. And the purpose and the meaning of your life is found on the journey of how do I get there. That's that. Now, most people walk around with hair that they don't want. They've got their hair here, and they've got an image of what they'd like their hair to be. So the journey of how do I get there is MD London. How do I get away from the hair I've got to the hair I want? You come to me. And it's either a mixture of tools and products, advice, information, tutorials, whatever it is. That's why I want to exist. Is so you look in a mirror and you just love yourself a little bit more than you did yesterday. And that's all I've got to offer. It's a tiny bit, but that's it. That's all I can do.